Hi, Ann Katzoff here of Ask Design. I'm going to show you today how to create an InDesign file for a magazine cover. The specifications will be an 8-inch width, 10-inch height. I'll show you how to add some text and place an image. So get your keyboard ready or your pen and paper, and I'll walk you through the steps. All right, so obviously you have to launch InDesign first, which I've already done, and you'll have this landing page. Before you do anything like creating a new file or anything like that, it's really best to check your preferences, because for this purpose, this particular file, we want to make sure we're using inches and not any other kinds of measurements. So what I did was scoot on over to the InDesign menu, down to Preferences, and you'll get this screen. The one that we're most concerned with is units and increments, and set both of the horizontal and vertical measurements to inches. You can leave this at points. So you can always change this later once you've created a file, but this sets it up as the new default before you've even created a new file. So once you've done that, you can click OK, and we'll create the new file. So go back to your top menu here and to the File menu. Drop down to New, scoot over to Document, the keyboard shortcut, Command-N on a Mac, probably Control-N on a PC. So first of all, our intent is print. Okay, these are the other options here. We're going for print. For this purpose, we'll just do one page. Get rid of facing pages. That's when you have two pages in the magazine or the book facing each other, but we're just doing one page for the cover. The default here is letter, but once you start modifying the measurements, that will change. For instance, 8.5, I'm changing to 8, and then I hit my Tab key on my keyboard, and you'll notice this now became custom. That's perfectly fine. The height will be 10. Okay. Number of columns. I'm going to leave this alone for now. I want to show you an even cooler way to establish some columns and a nice grid system within InDesign. So let's just keep that the same as it is. I'm going to change the margins to 1/4 of an inch all the way around. And again, this chain link is activated. So as soon as I hit the Tab key, all of them will become the same. If you do not want them to be the same, you unlink them. Okay? And then you can have different measurements for all of these different areas, but I'm going to keep it all the same. Bleed and slug. Print files generally are built with an 1/8 of an inch bleed, so we'll add in 0.125 all the way through. Again, the chain link is activated, so as soon as I hit the Tab key, bingo. Okay? The slug is from the old days in typography, when we used to create sheets of paper that had information necessary for people like proofreaders and printers to know who created the file. We don't really use that much anymore, so I'm leaving that alone. It's kind of irrelevant for now. I'm going to click OK. Let's take a peek at what we've got. So the white, obviously, is the sheet of paper that will be the cover. It's 8 inches by 10. You can see my ruler here, 8 inches by 10. Let me scoot up 10. Okay, if you don't have your ruler visible right now, you want to go to View and Show Rulers. It says Hide because I'm already showing them, but you want to click on Show Rulers. All right, let's examine these lines. I'm going to zoom in here. This line here, beyond the white, is the bleed. That's 1/8 of an inch. The internal line that sits on top of the white is the margin. Okay, and some areas to know about right off the bat in InDesign. Here is the panel where all your tools rest. This is the Select tool, and this is the Type tool. These are the two tools we'll be using the most today. Off to the right, I have my Pages panel. If you don't see what I see, you want to change your workspace to Advanced, okay, in order to get all of these wonderful tools to show up. I want to create a grid, but I want to do it on the master page. I want to have it show up on all the pages that I might create in this one document. So I create the grid on the master page, which will automatically appear on all of the regular document pages. So this is a really cool feature of InDesign. Under the Layout menu, if you go to this Create Guides submenu, you have this really cool thing that you can use. I'm a big fan of odd numbers for grids, so I'm going to just say 5 and 5, and if I do preview, I can see before I actually click OK what it will look like. Pretty sweet, huh? The other thing I like to do is I like to fit my guides to the margins. You can see here that they fit to the margins. Let's see what happens when I do it to page. I'm going to remove the existing guides. Interesting, isn't it? They become, see, for me, I don't like that because within the margin area, which is where I'll be working the most, the page is not divided evenly. This extends out. Go back to the margins. Now within the margins, you'll see the grid is even within. That's why I choose to fit the guides to the margins. And for the gutter, let's just make it an 1/8 of an inch. Whoops. There we go. 0.125, 1/8 of an inch. Okay. And then click OK. Now, we've been on the master page, and I know that not only because I clicked on the master page, but also downstairs here. Let me close up the screen a little bit. It says A Master. If I double click on this, it's a document page. This becomes page 1 down here, see? So now you see the grid has shown up on the regular page. And it will if we add other pages. I'll just show you quickly. There we go. There's page 2. So I'm going to save this right away before I go much further. So go under File and click Save. And the first time you do that, it will prompt you to name it. So I'm going to name it. Let me go here. I'll just put it on my desktop for now. And name it something that makes sense, like Magazine V1, version 1. And click Save. All right. Okay, first things first. Let's add some text. So go to the Text tool and click and drag approximately across this top area. We'll put the name of the magazine at the top. I'm going to pretend I'm doing Art New England. So I've typed that, and now I'm selecting it. Double click or triple click or Command A. I need to make it much larger. So I'll try 60 points and make this number real. These are just unreal numbers here. So 62. I'm going to center it right here at the alignment options. So pretty much in this top area, you have a lot of the tools that you need to get yourself going. And some of these tools also are in this side panel, right? So how do we like that? Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. Minion Pro, beautiful. The other thing I want to add with a new text box, so click and drag for a new text box. They have like a subtitle to their magazine. I'm going to add that in. Contemporary Art and Culture. Now you'll notice it didn't fit in that width. The text box was not wide enough. So I'm going to go to my selection tool and grab the corner and swing it over that way. Great. Okay. Now you can also move things with the tool. So the selection tool is good for resizing the boxes and repositioning them. Okay. If you double click in a text box like that, it automatically changes the tool to the text tool, which we like. I'm going to flush right that and go back to the selection tool and swing this up here. I want it to align with the right side of the D, but oops, I don't want it to be that close. So now I'll zoom in, and with my keyboard, I have arrows on my keyboard that allow me to move things with the selection tool activated one point at a time. If you don't have that, you just have to develop your mouse skills a little bit, right? Okay, how's that? Let's see. Pretty good. Command 0 will show everything within the screen. Okay, let's keep saving this as we go along. So Command S. Okay, the other thing I want to add is the issue number or date. I'll go with the date. So January 2017, I'll swing that up here to align with the A and the art. Let's make these the same size. What the heck, huh? Okay. So one is flush right over here. This is flush right, and one is flush left. Now, it's nice to use these grid lines as a starting point, like where am I going to put everything, and what should this thing align with, and that thing align with. But after a while, you'll find that you want to look at it without the grid. So I go to View, and you can do an overprint preview, but the best thing is really to hit the keyboard W, and you'll see a preview. The other way to get to changing your view is go to the View menu, and instead of normal, go to Preview here. Okay, so if you're in the selection tool, it's really easy to use the W on your keyboard just to toggle on and off. It's really a great tool. So we've got these three pieces of text. I want to add a feature headline. So go back to the text tool, and I'm going to make one up. I'm using one of my paintings for this pretend cover. So I'm just going to say, for now, I may change it later, but Anne Katzeff's art on display. I'll just leave it at that. Now, I want to make this a little bigger than these two guys, right? These are pretty small. They're all 12 point. I want to make the feature article a little bigger. So go up here to the point size area. You can scroll down to a point size, or you can type in a point size. So either way. And again, I'm a big fan of like real numbers. There's no such thing really as 43.2. That makes no sense in the real world. So I'm going to make it 38. Okay. And just tuck this away for a minute. And remember, every so often we're saving what we did, so Command S. All right, and finally, we want to find an image to place into this document. So we go to File and Place. Command D is the keyboard shortcut, and find the image that you want to use. I've already got mine set up here, or so I thought. Let me navigate to where I have it. It's in my artwork folder, and it's a recent piece, so here we go. Almost there. Let me see which one I wanted. This one. Okay. It's called Yin Yang. It's a painting I did of Antelope Canyon in Arizona. So I haven't done anything except select that. Now, my cursor, even though I'm using the select tool, my cursor is filled, so to speak. It's filled with that image. Now, if I just click, it will place it at 100%. Well, let's try that. Okay, and so that's pretty nice. And then I can move it around. Okay, it's on the top layer, so we'll have to change which layer it's on. Okay, but I'm going to delete that and show you another way to place it. I'll get the same image. Okay, click Open. My cursor once again is filled with it, but let's say I want it to fill this entire space. I'm going to click and drag that entire space, and let's see what happens. That's not what I wanted to happen. Hold on. Let's do Command Z. Let's try it again. Okay. Don't know what happened there. That's closer to what I want it to be because it actually extends out to the bleed area. I'll finesse the placement of it. If you, on a Mac, if you use your non-mouse hand and hit the Command Shift on your keyboard and then a corner, click and drag that, it will constrain the proportions while you resize it to fit exactly in the area you want. Okay, let's save this again. Now, clearly there's a problem because it's on the top layer, okay? And we need it to be underneath the text. So this is where we go to the Layers panel. And if we select the image, we can see this little blue dot indicates that's the layer. We're going to, just like Photoshop and Illustrator, drag that layer down below the others, okay? Let's click on W on your keyboard and see what the scoop is here. Okay, things are pretty dark, so we're going to have to lighten it up, toggle back. And so maybe we want to select the type. I'm a professional. There we go. All right, we have to change the color. So now we go to the swatches panel and change it to the paper color, which is white. Okay, we can see that a whole lot better. Let's go to the other text boxes and make those paper. I'm having trouble doing that. Okay, there we go. Paper, and then paper. Okay, so go back to your selection tool and then click somewhere on your pasteboard there to deselect everything. let's save and look at this. Okay, that's better. Now, we're using the grid, okay? There's a slight proximity issue for me with the edge of this, so I might want to adjust things there. But more importantly, this is really bothering me. I don't like that there at all. So I'm going to look at the grid for a minute. What are my options here? Maybe, whoops, go back to the selection tool. Maybe I should position it here. Oh, okay. Does that work? Well, yeah, a little bit. Maybe if I moved it up. So use your grid as a starting point to where you want to place things, and then toggle back and forth and see how much you like or don't like what you did. Pretty nice. Okay, so let's call that a wrap for now. And in brief review, I placed the image in a couple of different ways. You can either find that file and click, and it will automatically place it at 100%. Or the second option is to click and drag and position it closer to the size that you want. In either event, if you want to resize something with your non-mouse hand on the keyboard, Shift, Command Shift, and then grab a corner and resize it. It will keep the proportions the way they should be. All right. One last thing I want to mention about InDesign and the tools. So you have either a text tool or an image, a text box or an image box in InDesign, because things have to go inside boxes. That's how they designed the program. With images, you've got a couple of things to be aware of. One is the image box, and when you select it, you get the image box measurements up here. But if you want to know what's happening inside the image box, you have to double click and see what's going on with the image itself. So you've got the image placed inside the image box. The image itself is scaled up in this instance to 118.3%, right? And this is important for you to be aware of, because you want both of these numbers to be the same. It has to be in the correct proportion, so those numbers should match. Let's make sure that's the case here. So I've clicked on the image box, and now when I double click, I see that these numbers are the same. So it's scaled up a little bit above 100%. You want to use high resolution image whenever possible for print work. But if you're limited with that, you have to make sure you are scaling not too much above 100%. So I'm going to get rid of this, save my file again, and call this a wrap. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to ask or comment on my website or here on YouTube. And I hope this was helpful. Have a great day. Bye.